Hello and welcome to another edition of Business and Financial Raw Talk. We are in our 7th season. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm excited because every year it's magic. We have a special guest. It's the same guest that kicks off every single series, and that is none other than the amazing Cyrus Webb. If you don't know who Cyrus Webb is, I encourage you, do your research. This gentleman has the receipts when it comes to media presence, dominance, the training, authorship, impact, and influence. And he is amassing a global presence. And today we're going to talk about media, presence versus dominance. And in just a moment, you will get to meet Cyrus Webb, and we'll tell you a little bit more about him and the amazing things that he's doing. We'll be back in a moment. Hello, Cyrus. How's it going?
It's going great. Congratulations on 7 seasons.
I know. I'm like, where did the time go? I blinked and we're at 7.
I believe me, I understand.
But and thank you for that bit of recognition. But I have to say, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people like you who have helped guide me. And as you know, I sort of stumbled into this space by happenstance, just by doing things on Facebook and being seen and sort of brought into TV. And through your guidance and your coaching and mentorship, it's helped me to build a platform that has made it to 7 years. And one of the things that you told me, and I'd like to pass it on to you, is that consistency is so important. It's one thing to show up, and do it every now and then, but it's another thing to be committed and consistent. What do you want to say to our audience about that?
LaWanna, that really is going to be I think the name of the game when it comes to 2026 and in anything, but in particular media, because I think, as you and I were just talking about briefly before the show began, I think that if people think they're just going to be able to show up every now and then or just post something and think people are just going to find it, they're going to be lost in all the noise. So I would definitely say that consistency is so important for whether you're hosting a show like you're doing here or like I do, or any type of profession. I think that consistency is really going to be the game changer.
Yes. And you have done so much. We're going on 18 years, believe it or not, when our paths first intersected. Yeah. And at that time, when I met you, I met you through radio. Mm-hmm. And so not only are you a radio personality, a TV personality, you're an Amazon influencer, you're an author of multiple books, you're a coach and a mentor. You are also the Guinness's Book of World Records for the most television interviews. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And oh my goodness, you're an artist. What? Yeah. And you're an MC. I'm like, N.
Yeah.
What don't you do, Cyrus?
Look, I tell people, LaWanna, I cannot sing and I cannot dance.
Somehow it wouldn't surprise me if you said, guess what? I'm going to be on The Masked Singer. Somehow I think you'll pull something out.
Oh my goodness. That would be crazy.
But let's talk about your growth in media. And if you don't mind just telling us, how did you become introduced to media? Was that something that you went to school for, you were always interested in, or did you stumble into this lane?
That's why I kind of smiled when you said that you stumbled into what you've been doing now for 7 seasons, LaWanna. I had no intention at all of being involved in media at all. And it was so interesting to me. My whole thing has always been just wanting to write and draw. And then in 2003, during a speaking engagement, then life changed. I was introduced to the individual who owned the radio station in Jackson, Mississippi, Charles Evers, the brother of Medgar Evers, and he heard me speak. And it's so funny. And it's funny as I'm now telling the story this time around, I'm thinking about the thing that in school, LaWanna, kids, especially kids that look like me, made fun of the way I talk because they said I was trying to talk white or talk proper. But he can't. I just thought about this as I'm now telling the story. I've told the story before, but that point just kind of hit me. He said, you have a very nice speaking voice. Have you ever thought about doing radio? And that question changed the whole trajectory of my life from something I'd never thought about doing, had no intentions of doing, starting hosting in July 2003, a weekly show that then became a bi-weekly show, then 3 times a week, to now fast forward to 2026. So I'm on 7 days a week here in Mississippi, three times a day, Monday through Friday. Even now I'm a news director. For the past 10 years, I've been a news director for the station as well. So this path was not anything I had planned, but it is something that once I saw the value in it and the connection to it, I then became committed to it.
So let me ask you this question. So someone saw something in you and said, have you thought about? You got involved in it, but how did you hone your skill set? Where did that come from? Were there anyone in media that you lean to or look to develop your style, and now you have your own unique style and brand and sound?
Right. Yeah, and I appreciate that question, and that's a great question. Once it started, of course, being from Mississippi, Oprah was the gold standard, right? In fact, in Mississippi, for the first 5 years of my career on the radio dial, they called me the male Oprah. And so Oprah was definitely someone I looked at. I looked at her ability to connect, her ability to ask questions and step out of the way, but also just about being authentically her, right? Oprah has a crazy laugh. People talk about my crazy laugh. That has become one of my things with me. And so Oprah definitely was one of those people. But I'll tell you something else that may surprise your audience, LaWanna, and I've talked about this in the past. I would not have Conversations Media Group today if it was not for Oprah and Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart was the other one I looked at because she's someone who was able to start in one area and then to expand on that, but still stay true to her core. And that's exactly what I've been able to do with Conversations Live, the radio show, kind of becoming my core product, but then expanding from that to 2003 when the show started, to 2006 when the magazine started. We celebrate 20 years this year. And then at the end of 2026, beginning the book club, again, still fitting into that mold and then expanding it out from there. So those two individuals definitely were instrumental in showing me a roadmap, but you're right. I did have to make it my own though.
And you just mentioned the magazine. I forgot to mention that. You actually have a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to ask what I know everyone is wondering.
Yeah.
How do you do it all? I mean, I know you have the Conversations Media Group. Yeah. But the mastermind behind all of these lanes is Cyrus Webb.
Right.
How do you, and I just saw you celebrated with 760 plus, I think, guests last year alone.
Last year alone, yeah. We'll hit 14,000 guests of my career this year since I started on the radio in 2003. And this is a great question. And I'm so glad you asked me this. I didn't know you were going to ask me this question, but this is because I want people to know, I don't want this to seem like something that's impossible. So you're right. I do a lot of different things. But what people don't always understand, LaWanna, is that just like in traditional television and radio, I have seasons. So Conversations Live is my core show. That show is 7 days a week. I actually host 7 other shows, but 4 of those other shows, LaWanna, they have seasons. So they're not all every week. They run like my show, Word That You to Live By, that I co-host with Tina Siemens. We run typically it is 12 weeks, and then we're off for 8 weeks, and then we come back for 12. So it's not all running simultaneously. I literally just announced my show, Mississippi Success. We're gearing up for this season of 2026, but that show in itself, the one, is only 16 weeks. So it's not like I'm doing everything together, but it does go to a point that you and I have talked about before. It's all in the planning. So I plan out my year beginning in August of the previous year. And I say, okay, like I have a series called It's Okay Not to Be Fabulous Every Day with Allie Dalsimer. It's a 10-week series. So yes, for 10 weeks, I'll be doing that show with her, but then that show's over. This is our final season, our third and final season of that. So that's how I'm able to do it. I look at the things I'm doing with CMG, which is my company. But then I think about, okay, I know Conversations Live is going to be the staple. That's going to be regardless. Conversations Live has never been off the air in the 22 years I've done it. We've always been on the air. And so that's the beauty, though, of having so much content, though, as well. But the other shows, the way I'm able to do it is because they do have seasons. They have breaks. And so that way, like my co-host, they don't have to worry about committing to 52 weeks. They have, they know, hey, this is going to be either 8 weeks or 12 weeks or, 16 weeks. And then they will move on, have a break, and then move on to the next show. So to me, it's all about the planning. And I think for anyone out there, LaWanna, what I would say, that's why I'm so glad you asked this question, don't think you have to choose in the things that you do. People will tell you have to choose one thing. Well, LaWanna and I both know neither one of us do just one thing. But we have different times that we do different things. And I think that's where you have to be real strategic and mindful when you do your planning.
Yeah, and I guess because we see you're so visible, right? In your different shows, the mind doesn't think that these are all different, right? As you said, you have seasons for each. It's, to me, to the viewer, it seems like it's continuous. It's like, whoa, do you sleep?
Right. No, I get it. I totally get it. And like I said, mainly because of the two shows that are live. So we have Conversations Live, and I have an exclusive for you about that as well, LaWanna. And then we have my Cyrus Webb Presents that has to be live because it's streamed through Amazon, which only does live content. So I am on live a lot, but not as much as people may think I am.
At what point did you say, I want this to be more than about me interviewing people, but me actually helping people further extend their reach?
I love that question too. So honestly, I knew that probably from the very beginning. I just didn't have the reputation. I didn't have the momentum. And honestly, I didn't even have the platform to do it initially. So I knew from the very beginning I wanted to be bigger than me. But quite honestly, it wasn't until 2013, which seems like forever ago now, that I had built something where I was like, okay, wait a minute. I now am in a position where I can literally build not just my own media company, but my own network. So that's when I launched Conversations Radio Network, where I was able to bring in people that I worked with that really became almost colleagues of mine, that I was able to bring them in and introduce them to another audience. So yes, to answer your question, it was something I always wanted to do, but just like with everyone else, it took time. I didn't have myself set up initially to do it. Again, I didn't have the platform to do it, didn't have the credibility to do it. And all of those things were necessary for it to be working the way it is now.
And I like what you said. So you can have all the desire in the world, right? Mm-hmm. But there is an infrastructure. There is an engine behind all of this that enables you to systematize what you do in a committed way, in a way that is routine. Yeah. In order to, I guess, not keep your audience guessing. Because I think the one thing is we see something. If it's a pilot, you let people know it's a pilot. Yeah. But when you're selling it as, no, this is a forever ever show, and we see 3 episodes and then we never hear anything, I think that can impact your credibility from a long-term standpoint, because then they see this pivoting happening over and over again. It's like, okay, well, they came up with this show, now this show. And when do they, let me word it this way. and I know the answer, but I want you to address this.
Mm-hmm.
In your shows,
Mm-hmm.
and before you move like to the next level, did you experience a pain point that made you think maybe that I'm dreaming a little too big? Maybe I should just stay right here where I'm in my sweet spot. I'm in my lane. I'm running this race full out. I don't know if I really want to reach that high right now.
Yeah. Oh, every day. And I'm laughing, but that is an honest answer. I mean, I was very comfortable where I was. I'm an easy. Well, here's the thing about me that works against me, and I've been very vocal about this the past couple of years. LaWanna, I tell people I am my biggest asset and my worst enemy. In that I'm a worker by nature. I will work. That's just what I know. I saw my parents do it. Work is not a problem. But as far as promotions and excelling, I've never been a person interested in that. And I think because what I saw from my parents, they were not like that either. My dad would spend time on a job. He was faithful to the job, but he had never had any aspirations of being higher than where he was. And my mom was the same way. And what that told me was two things, LaWanna. It told me that I can bring the best of myself to any position that I happen to be in. But two, that I don't have to have a certain title in order to make an impact. Like my dad was someone people looked up to him before he retired and came to him. But I will say what that did also do, because again, I didn't have any entrepreneurs around me. It didn't tell me that it was okay to have more. Mm-hmm. And since I didn't see it around me, I thought, okay, well, I just will show up. I'll do my work. But when other things started coming my way, other opportunities, I'm like, well, no, I don't really need to do that because I'm fine just doing this right here. But it was so interesting. I mentioned starting in 2003, LaWanna, the radio pushed me out of my full-time job that I had over a decade because it was growing so much and people started reaching out to me from different states about speaking, and my platform, my personal brand was growing. I couldn't do that and have a full-time job. And so I had to make the choice that was not easy because I loved my job. I had to make the choice to leave my job and do this full time. But honestly, if I didn't have the right mindset then, looking back at it, I would have been just fine staying where I was and doing this part time. I'm someone who I never have been. I want to be the biggest on radio or the biggest on television, have the biggest audience. That's never been a goal of mine, which is probably why it happens because it's not where I put the goalpost. The goalpost for me is, okay, can I show up better today than I did yesterday? Can I add value to this guest and my audience life in a more fulfilling way than I did in the previous? And because I come from that vein with thinking about others and not myself and my own aspirations, my aspirations have had to grow because of that.
I like that. And that quote you just said, that's one of the things that the actor, late actor Sidney Poitier always said was every day his goal was to be better than the day before. The person he was competing against was himself, not looking, elsewhere. Yeah. And I think what you're saying is so profound at this time of the year when everyone is, aspiring for new things, greater heights. They have these vision boards and resolutions. But when you are able to be present in who you are and your gifts and talents and content in it, like you said, then all of a sudden these other opportunities just start coming your way. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because, and this is my personal opinion, you're showing good stewardship over where you are and what you have at that moment, just like your parents did.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And I think that's really the key. I think if I did not love this, I would not have been doing it for 22 years, over 13,000 interviews. I wouldn't have been doing it. I genuinely get excited every day about getting on the air and talking to these guests. And again, it's not even about me. It's about, okay, because I learn a lot from my guests, as I know you do as well. I get so much out of it, But then to hear that feedback, especially now with social media able to give us in real time in many cases, give us that feedback, I get so much from them, and that interchange as well. So yeah, I mean that is the true measure of success for me personally. The other things have been nice, but that is how I truly can tell I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, is when I hear from a guest how they felt after an experience. An audience member shared something with me that's just what I needed to hear today. That's how I know I'm really walking in purpose.
Yeah, I love that. I want to ask you, when you sit back and you talk to your parents and they look at where you are, did your mom see something in you as a child that said, this person has, I don't know which lane they're going, but they have this ability to connect with other people in a way that creates trust and comfortability? Or are they surprised as well as what you're doing?
That is a great question. And I'm going to be honest, neither one of them are surprised. My mom and dad my mom has said, especially after we broke the Guinness World Record last year, I shared this story recently, LaWanna, I called her that day. I was so in my emotions after it was all over and driving home. And I called her and I said, we did it. And her words to me was, of course you did it. You do everything you set your mind out to do. It was so matter of fact. It wasn't just a mother saying something. I knew she was telling me the truth, from her perspective, because she's always told me that anything you've set your mind to do, you can do it. So, but that's the interesting thing about having someone that believes in you that strongly, because I didn't believe in myself that strongly, and believe that I was capable. And honestly, LaWanna, I have to say, in some respects, I'm glad I didn't, because I think I would have relied too much on myself and abilities. There are a lot of people more attractive than me, taller than me, grew up in better circumstances than me, that are not doing a quarter of the things that God has blessed me to do. And I think because I have I took my talent that I was given, I didn't bury it. I've tried to invest it in whatever way I can, and I'm just glad to see it reaping reward. But yeah, my parents, this is exactly what they believed I would be doing and more.
I love that. And like you said, you're glad you didn't see all of this, right? You were just in the present, in the moment, doing what you love. And it made me think about, there's a song, and you may be familiar with it, by Danny Bell. It's a Christian song, and it's called Ordinary People. And one of the lyrics says, God uses ordinary people just like me and you, who are willing to do as he commands. He chooses people who are willing to give their all, no matter how small their all may seem to them, because little becomes much when it's placed in the master's hand.
Love that. No, I wasn't familiar with that, but I love that.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful, beautiful song. And sometimes I think wherever we are, we allow our mindsets to get in the way, that bubble talk to tell us what we can't do. And when we're able to just be, and again, I think that's just an amazing gift that your parents gave you, is just, you're just in the moment, you're doing you, there's contentment in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then you get this tap on the shoulder. It's like, hello, what about this over here? And then this over here. And which brings me to, I saw you probably in the fall walking around this plot of land, and something is about to be constructed there. What are you up to, Cyrus?
Yeah, that's one of those things of like, okay, what about this over there? So it's one of these, but this is, talk about something being inevitable. This is a very full circle moment, what's going to happen this year here in Mississippi. The one, I don't even know if you know the story, but the first time I was ever in the newspaper, ever, was as a teenager. I had a community bookstore. And the way I was able to do it is, even back then I was working with brands. So Scholastics asked me to be a part of this project, and the payment was in books. So I opened up this little bookstore, and like in the old days, LaWanna, where you had the little paper in the back where you put the date and everything, I had made that for each one of the books. So books have always been a part of my life. A bookstore was something that that I was very happy about then. And now in 2026, I'm going to be opening up my own bookstore officially called Books You Need to Read. Now, the funny thing is, I've been setting you guys up for this. If anyone who's heard me on, especially on Instagram, I say I'm Cyrus Webb of Cyrus Webb Reviews and booksyouneedtoread.com. So this is something I've been playing with now for a few years, getting this ready. And it could not have happened any other time but now. And it goes to exactly what you and I have been talking about in this conversation. Because of the relationships I've built now for 20 plus years with all the major publishers, with independent authors, I'm going to be able to have books inside of my bookstore, from traditionally published authors to self-published authors. Also, I'll be introducing my own card line will be in my bookstore as well. So we have Books You Need to Read. The bookstore will be there. I also will have a physical office there instead of the studios that I have here in my home. And outside of that, we're also going to have a small meeting area, something we don't have in this community here. So I'm very excited about this. This is another one of those larger than life moments, probably the largest, what I call my offline life things I've done, but I'm so excited. It's been great kind of, as we're laying the groundwork literally for this. The next time you guys will see the properties, you'll see what it looks like now cleaned off. You're going to see that before picture and then what it looks like now. And then you guys are going to be on the process. Now, the thing I will mention about this too, LaWanna, that has me excited is, again, I'm able to tie in, again, the leverage and reputation that I've built now for over 20 years, where I don't actually have to build anything. We have these tiny houses that are being brought in, thanks to my Amazon partners, that will be able to house one for the meeting area, one for the books. So there'll be 3 buildings on this property, which is crazy.
Oh, I love it. I love that innovation. That's brilliant.
Yeah, so there's not going to be none of this having to come in and build something from the ground up. We're literally going to be able to have this, and some of the local partners of mine here in the state are going to be helping too. So they'll be promoted, of course, advertised in the shows that will be coming up on my network too. So again, it's a big moment of synergy for me. And again, it's inevitable that this was one of those things. Again, even my mom said, this doesn't surprise me either. Her only thing she said to me that was pretty somber was, she said, I hope I'm alive to see it. And that just reminds me of our own mortality, right? But also the reason why we can't procrastinate when it comes to things, how we have to be able to act when we can, whenever we can.
Yeah, I love that. And I was just thinking, me being in mortgages, my why behind that is creating sustainability in communities. And how we do that is creating economic resources and places where community can come together. And that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This little kid who had his own bookstore.
Yeah. And here's the funny thing, LaWanna, that I don't know if you know this or not. It literally is 3 miles from my house. The property is.
Oh, wow.
It's literally on the main road that I live on. It's literally straight down the road.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you can do maybe walking trail, bike path, something, right?
Yeah. I mean, hey, out here in the country, yeah, there's so many things. And you're right. I mean, and this is going to be what I hope, LaWanna, is what I hope with everything that I do. Yes, this is going to be great for my business. Yes, it's going to be great for my brand and all of that. I understand that. But it's also going to show other people, look, if Cyrus can do that in Mississippi, what can I do wherever I am in the world? What can I do in my community? What can I come together and build? That's what I really hope people get from this. It's so much bigger than what Cyrus Webb is doing. Is what can I do? What's my excuse? What's really keeping me from trying to do X, Y, or Z. And maybe it's not opening up a bookstore or that, but whatever it may be, that you can do in your own community, your own slice of the world. I'm doing all of this in the state that has one of the highest rates of illiteracy. We're on the top of all the wrong lists. And yet here I am building something that someone that looks like myself has never done before in this state. And I think that in itself should motivate anybody when it comes to pursuing their goals and dreams.
Yeah, I like that. So within your compound, will you have radio and TV in one place, and then have, I don't know, maybe you have a place that's for people who want to come in and do their own podcast, but they don't have a space, or will it just solely be for your operations?
That's a great question. It's one of the things we've talked about, and I love that you're asking it because I haven't actually talked about this in an interview before. So initially, it will only be for Conversations Media Group and for basically myself. Now, here's the great thing, though, about Conversations Media Group, the way it's grown, LaWanna, and I don't even think you know this yet. 3 of the members of CMG actually live here in Mississippi. So they will be, and 2 of them have shows. So 2 of them, part of the plan is they will be able to use it for themselves. So initially, it will be a family affair, initially. But it is our hope that we able to, which is why I had started doing my podcasting classes and things online. It is my hope that we will be able to bring that in to help to train people when it comes to, starting their own show, to then also providing a place. Let's say you don't want to buy a setup, to be to have something you can be able to use. That is part of the plans in the future.
Well, I like that. So you've got the media group expanding.
Mm-hmm.
You have this bookstore, your podcast facility, your radio network.
Mm-hmm.
The radio network is new because you're not saying radio show. You said radio network.
Mm-hmm.
So unpack that for me, and congratulations with that.
Thank you. So again, basically, I'm building from within. So with the Conversations Radio Network, it so happens that 5 of the members of Conversations Media Group that are also clients, they also have their own shows. So LaWanna, what I've been able to do because of my influence here in Mississippi, this is why I tell people this is so much bigger than me. So as I mentioned, I'm on the radio 7 days a week, right? What I'm doing is I'm pulling in 5 of my clients that are also my colleagues with the radio network. They now are able to bring their shows to the radio station where I am here in Mississippi. And that actually kicks off starting this month. So what will happen is I'm on the air twice a day for an hour. The last show, I'm the primetime talent on the radio. So at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, I have an hour show. So instead of it being my hour show, I'm going to do like what Oprah did with the Iyanla Vanzant is I'm going to have the first 30 minutes as Conversations Live. Then I will introduce the next part Monday through Friday, which will be one member of the CMD family that's a part of now the radio network. So I'm excited about this because it's going to do 3 things. 1, introduce my clients to a bigger audience and help them build up their profile to be able to say, I'm not only on YouTube and Spotify, I'm also on WYED 94.1 FM in Mississippi, but also 2, what I hope they're able to do is to use that to be able to get on other stations as well as leverage, to be able to say, hey, my show is already airing in a prime time, on this station here in Mississippi. We'd love to see what we can work out, but also 3, to help them in building their portfolio, LaWanna, because again, that makes it more monetizable for them, especially if they have guests to say, hey, not only will you be on this, you also will be on the radio on this FM station as well. So I'm excited about that for them because it's going to be a great opportunity for them to expand their audience and their reach, but also to build out their portfolios too.
Now, are these the individuals who live in Mississippi, or are they elsewhere?
No, they're all over. So we have 2 of them are in Mississippi, Melissa Banks and Anissa Short. They're in Mississippi. But then we have Dr. Velma Bagby, who's in California. She has one of the days. We have Stacey Thomas, who's in Virginia. She has one of the days. And then we have Kate Thurman, who's in Atlanta, Georgia, Atlanta with you. She has one of the days too. So that way, and you'll start seeing the graphics really soon, basically introducing them, but also showing that their shows can be heard during the 8 p.m. Eastern hour on WYAD, and that's going to be again kicking off in January.
So let me ask you, and congratulations again on that, and to your team. One of the things that you do is your training. So beyond the coaching that you do, as you mentioned, you do your podcast training and media training. What do you feel when you look back to where you are now and what has helped you get here? What would you say are the top 3 things that someone needs to consider before they even begin, embarking on this world of media and establishing influence?
Yeah, that's a great question. And this question is something I don't think people are honest enough with themselves about, LaWanna, because let's be honest. Some people will do something because someone will say to them, you have a nice voice, you should do this. And it may not be something they can commit themselves to. They may have a nice voice, right? But they may not even be, so they may do, like you mentioned earlier, do 1 or 2 and then they're gone, right? I think for myself, the 3 things would be this. 1, be very clear about your why. I knew when Mr. Evers said to me, you'd be good at this, when he told me what he was looking for, I knew that wasn't going to work for me. I knew what I needed to do is that because the talk he heard me give was about me going through depression, my suicide attempts. And so I knew I wanted to provide a platform for other people to share their stories, right? That was my why. And that still is my why today with the radio, with what I do with Amazon, with the magazine. That still is my why. So I think that's the very first thing. Why are you doing it? Why is this something that you have decided to do or that you are thinking about doing? And if you're really honest about that and it's bigger than your ego, then the second thing I think people would think about is, what can I actually commit? Like for myself, as I mentioned, I didn't start off 7 days a week. I started off once a week. But then as things grew and the show got more attention, I mean, literally that's how I started my relationship with the major publishers, LaWanna, in New York and California. They heard about this country boy Mississippi that was interviewing authors, and they were bringing their authors through on book tours and stopping in person in the studio. And that kind of built my rapport with them that lasts to today, and that is so important. For the second question is, what can you commit? Are you willing to commit? And what are you willing to give up? Because I had to make some difficult decisions about my life to grow this the way I have. I had to be honest about my quote unquote downtime or my free time, how I used my time, how much I was willing to commit to this to make it work the way I wanted it to. And that leads me to the third thing is, what's going to keep you from quitting? And I think we can all come up with a reason why we shouldn't do something. Well, I only got 5 downloads, or no one showed up. I did a show and nobody was there. And I think what I had chosen to do from the very beginning, I realized that everything was about, I tell people I start at 0 every day. That's my mentality. So yes, I've done all these great things, broke the Guinness World Record, all of that. But this is a brand new day now. This is a brand new year. I can't just rest on that. I have to say, okay, what am I going to do today? Which is why I'm excited about the radio network and what's happening here in Mississippi with the building projects, and, what's happening also, with my other projects that I have going on with CMG. So those are the 3 things. I think being very clear about the why, what can you commit, but also what is going to keep you dedicated so that you won't quit on it.
Yeah, I like that. And that really is, if you look at it, it's full circle, because if you know your why, then that why is what should keep you grounded, right? Even if things are going topsy-turvy, that should still be your North Star. And I was looking at some stats earlier, and it was quite surprising. There's thousands thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, possibly millions of podcasts out there, TV shows, et cetera, around the world. And it says 90% never make it past 3 or 10 episodes.
Isn't that crazy?
Not seasons.
Yeah.
Episodes.
Yeah.
90%.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you're saying, I mean, this is huge. And I think the number one thing that you said was the why.
Yeah.
People tend to jump on a bandwagon because everyone else is doing it and it looks good.
Right.
And it's like, oh, this is a way I can get visibility. This is a way I can have a mic in front of my face and try to build credibility, but it's not tied to something that's sustainable.
Yeah.
And
LaWanna,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just wanted to mention something I thought about as you were talking. This goes to another principle that I've learned, and I think you would agree with me on this. Growing up, I heard all money is not good money.
Mm-hmm.
But LaWanna, what I've learned, especially in this digital world that we live in today, all attention is not good attention either. Because you can have 10,000 followers, 20,000 followers, 50, a million, but if they're not your audience, it doesn't matter. Right. And I think especially in the world we're living now, where we're shifting from social media to interest media, which is what everyone now is seeing. We're in the interest media era now, where even now people like Adam Missouri, I think I may have sent this to you, the one where he says it's not about the followers anymore. It's about each piece of content standing on its own, which means what? That means we have a shot at the apple every time we make a post. But here's the thing, we have to make a post. we have to show up, because that's the only way and that, I'm going to hit another milestone. I haven't told you about this one. I haven't even announced this. And this is crazy. And it goes to the point I'm having chills now just thinking about what I'm about to say, but I'm about to say this out loud. LaWanna, my YouTube channel, my little YouTube channel that has less than 3,000 subscribers. I want you to think about what I'm about to say.
Okay.
It's about to hit 1 million views in the first quarter of 2026.
Wow.
At the time we're having this conversation, I have over 850,000 views on my YouTube channel. This goes to the very point we're talking about. It's not about, some people get so hung up on how many followers do you have. It doesn't matter if the people are not there who you're trying to reach. I've been fortunate enough to really hone in on those that I'm trying to reach, and they're finding me piece of content after piece of content, and the numbers bear that out. I did an interview with a kid star recently. That interview was 7 minutes. That interview now has over 200,000 views on it. 200,000. LaWanna. And that's what I'm saying. It's like we're literally one piece of content from our world's changing every day. But that won't happen if you don't post. And if you don't show up, like what you're saying about those stats are crazy to think about, because everyone starts, they start. But what do they actually finish? What do they actually continue doing? And the fact that, like you said, you and I are 18 years in, I'm celebrating 23 years this year. And some people having problems getting past episode 2 of their podcast. I mean, you're celebrating 7 seasons. I mean, that we really are the unicorns out here. So that should give all of us hope that, forget about it being saturated. It's not saturated. Yes, people are starting all of these shows, but as you just shared by those numbers, they're not continuing, and that's how we can win.
Yeah, and I liked what you said. The focus now is interest media, more so than followers. And I know on my show, we have all the show hosts come together and we're talking, and the CEO wanted me to share with everyone. He's like, okay, you may not have as many viewers on your show. He said, but people are staying and watching longer. I have the longest watched shows on our network. So on the 55-minute show, people are watching 40 to 42 minutes. That's significant. So that tells me I'm giving the right content, right?
Yeah.
And I think, like what you said, 3,000 subscribers, yet you're about to hit 1 million views.
Yeah.
That's huge, right? So sometimes and this is where coming from, the financial and performance background, I want to tell the audience, you have to understand your numbers and what the numbers are actually telling you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's when you're doing the right thing and touching the right audience and they're watching, that's where the monetization is. But if you have followers and they're not engaging and they're not really watching, or perhaps you're a person who's bought your followers. There's a lot of people who do that.
Yeah.
But now the era is changing and we're in a disruptive world.
Yeah.
So now what do you do with bot followers, right?
Yeah.
It's a little challenging.
Yeah. And here's the thing which is why I tell not only my CMG team, LaWanna, but also people who come to my trainings, I tell them, you have to be very careful. These platforms are telling us something that's very key. And this is an important thing for all of your audience to think about when it comes to the people that are quote unquote following them on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, and who they're allowing to stay connected with them by not unfollowing them. Because the way the algorithm now works, and this is now the platforms are saying this. Adam Aziri, the head of Instagram, has said this. What they do is they go by how your current followers engage with your content to determine if they're going to show it to a bigger audience. So I want you guys to think about that for a second. If the content you're putting out right now is not being engaged with by the people that are there, whether you bought them or they're people that are out of your niche, they're literally are hurting you, because unless they do engage, Instagram, Facebook, Threads are not going to show you to a larger audience. Because no one, if your current followers are not engaging, why would they share it to a large? That wouldn't make any sense, right? They literally have said that the way your current audience engages will determine if you get pushed out to a larger audience. So that means it's important for all of us to make sure that we're not just getting followers to get followers, or having our, cousin Annie follow us, and she never engages with anything. We need to be very intentional, because we could be hurting ourselves in the long run.
Yeah, that's made me think about this one individual who will remain nameless, but he has, I think, 20,000 followers on Facebook. And I see, his post occasionally, but it's interesting. If he gets 2 thumbs up, maybe 1 comment, I'm like, how is that possible? You have this massive following. How is that literally possible?
Right. Yeah.
So.
Because they don't care. And then you have to wonder too, LaWanna, to this point. And again, part of this, and I want to give your audience, want to give them this reprieve. That's what people were taught at one point, right? We were taught, you want to get all these followers. You want to get, that's how you would remember. That's how you got your check mark initially. Remember on Instagram, you have to get that 10,000 followers. So people they didn't care if the people actually were their audience. And that's the danger. But think about that. I tell my team all the time, LaWanna, I treat everything like it's my home. Because I don't just work with people. I don't just take take pay from people. I engage with them. I actually get to know them. I become invested in their success, not just because they're paying me, but because I want to legitimately see them win. But just think about the other side of that, LaWanna. If you have people around you that don't care if you win or not, don't care about what you post, don't engage, how is that doing anything but hurting you? Because again, it shows that the people you have around you are not your people. And what I've always wanted to do is to make sure that people that were around me, whether it was 2, 20, 200, or 2,000, that they were my people, that they were people who actually cared about what I posted about, what I cared about. And here's the other side of it too, going to the other side of Interest Media, LaWanna, them knowing that I care about them too. I'm not just waiting on them to come and like my stuff. I'm engaging with them. I'm commenting on their post. I'm, sharing things because that's how people are able to know that you care about them and that it's not transactional.
Yeah, that's huge. We have a few more minutes. I want to see if we can get a couple more teachable moments from you.
Sure.
So one of the things people hear about, whether it's your podcast, radio, TV, whatever media platform you're out there, it's like, okay, monetize.
Yeah.
What are the two things? I'm going to stop it at two because I want people to go to your training. People need to consider when it comes to positioning themselves to monetize, whether it's from that guest entering the door or from sponsorships, partnerships. What are two things they need to think about?
Oh, Lauren, I'm so glad you asked this question because this is something, as you know, I'm very passionate about this. Not everybody is comfortable charging their guest. And look, there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you saying, I don't really want to charge people to come on my show. That's fine. However, but for those who think it's something that's icky, let me tell you this. From 2004 to 2006, I had a program, a 30-minute program on our ABC affiliate here in Jackson, Mississippi. They did not give me that time slot. I had to pay for that time slot. I had to pay for that airtime, right? But here's the thing. I was able to make money through those paid spots. So I had a paid program, a paid 30-minute program on the ABC affiliate, but I was able to monetize that. So I love the fact that LaWanna asked me that question because, for one, if you do not feel comfortable charging your guests, and that's fine. You don't want to charge your guests, that's fine. There are two things that you can do to help you monetize. One, and this is huge because I do this myself, and this is so big, and that is to sponsor yourself. And you're probably saying, Cyrus, what are you talking about? Okay, if you have a show, you have a podcast, you may also have a book, you may have a course, you may have a product or some other type of service. Create a commercial for your product, for your service inside of that show for that guest that you let on for free. So that's a great way for people to know that you have this thing. And one of the mentors that I have in YouTube, he has over 1 million subscribers. He is one of these individuals able to get tens of thousands of views on every video. And the majority of them, he sponsors himself with his course. Now, here's the thing. His course that you take is over $2,500. So he doesn't need to charge the guests because he's making money with every episode because of his course and his other trainings. So that's the first thing I would say. Sponsor yourself. Take another offering that you have and being able to put it inside of that. The second thing is affiliate marketing. I'm teaching a class on this coming up, but affiliate marketing has been such a great addition to not only my business, but also my income. And a lot of times when people think about affiliate marketing, they only think about Amazon, especially when it comes to me, because people know I'm big on Amazon. However, did you know you can become an affiliate of Expedia and make money from people purchasing trips or hotel nights? Did you know that you can become an affiliate of a press release company, EIN, that we use for our press releases? You're going to become an affiliate of theirs to make money. So their affiliate marketing, depending on what your niche is, what you're interested in, you can find something that you can be able to promote inside of that episode that can still bring you money. So those are the two things I would say, LaWanna. One, sponsor yourself and realize the value that comes from that. But also, two, taking advantage of affiliate marketing.
I love that. And it all goes back to pausing and coming up, like you said, you start your strategy for the next year in August.
Yeah. So
taking time to plan. I mean, success doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
I mean, you may think it does, but as Cyrus says, this is 23 years in the making.
Yeah.
Through trial and error, through aligning himself with the right coaches and mentors.
Yeah.
And now evolving to where he's able to give back with this knowledge and being willing to charge for it. Because I know back in the day, we would talk about how you're like, I don't want to charge much. And then slowly I'm like, okay, it's inching up. Because and I remember you saying this was maybe about 10 years ago. You said,
Mhm.
I'm not there yet. I don't remember who spoke to you and
Mhm.
said that you were, I think you used the term like being mom and pop with your
Yeah.
business.
A Steve Harvey producer wanted to work with me on a project, and they declined to work with me because they had already pulled the numbers and everything. They knew all of they said I was running $1 million business like a mom and pop shop.
Mm.
And the gentleman I never will forget. And ironically, we ended up working together a couple of years ago on Steve Harvey's Game Star program. You may remember that when he
Yes.
bought what was that show? Family Feud. I ended up working with that same producer, but they saw the difference. But yeah, that was one of the best things that could have happened to me, LaWanna, because here's someone who had no skin in the game, just telling me, look, you have this business that you are really not treating it seriously, basically. And that was the switch I really needed to help me.
Yeah. And sometimes we need that little kick in the pants.
Oh yeah.
And we have to know, and I want to turn this over to you because we're almost out of time. We have to know our own value.
Yeah.
And be willing to, if you know you're giving a good service and good value,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with you setting a fair price to it. But
Right.
we tend to play small. It's like, oh, I don't know, maybe they won't pay. Well, what if they will? Or maybe the right audience would be willing to pay for that information or that level of exposure. So I'm going to turn it over to you to just take the last few minutes to just speak directly to our guests as they go into this new year and look to expand their visibility, their impact, influence, and ultimately their income. Take it.
Thank you for that, LaWanna, and thank you again for this opportunity. I would just say to all of you, and LaWanna was actually speaking about me just now because I was someone who was comfortable playing small. I remember when I was going full time in this, my monthly bills were $600 a month, all my bills together. And so if I made $1,000, I thought, well, I don't have to charge anymore because I've already got my bills paid and I have $400 left over. But what I came to realize is that now I wouldn't be where I am today with Conversations Media Group, because even though I have clients that pay me, they end up getting paid too because of opportunities I've been able to present. I couldn't do that if I kept playing it safe and playing it small and not making income that I can be able to pour back into them, even though they are clients of mine becoming colleagues. So I would say to you is, don't be afraid to invest in yourself. And that's not always in money. It's in education. It's in time. It's in being able to surround yourself with people that are going to pour into you, whether that's a coach or just someone you trust. But also realize that everything begins with the plan, because once you know your why, the plan will make it easier for you to not only to implement it, but also to stay focused on it, because things are going to happen. Life's for all of us, myself included. But if we're able to stay focused and consistent, that will definitely help us to win in this new year.
Thank you so much, Cyrus, for joining us. I can't believe we're out of time. We definitely need to have you back probably mid-year to see what's happening with the groundbreaking and with the radio network and so much more. And I know people can connect with you. The information is below to learn about your training and just everything else that you're doing, as well as far as your shows. And again, thank you so much for being a part of my journey and my growth. I truly salute and honor you, and so happy that you're also my friend.
Thank you. And I just want to say congratulations again to you on 7 seasons here, but also on the great things you're doing with your Amazon best-selling book and the way you're building your own network out too. So looking forward to seeing what's up for you for this year too.
Thank you so much. And to our listening audience, just remember that in life and in business, when your vision intersects with opportunity, success is inevitable. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.